So can I talk about insurance for a second? Oh, it's everyone's most hated thing, but the thing that we cannot live without exposing ourselves to so much liability. But what I'm finding out about insurance and the tax deed properties in particular, because remember, tax lien certificates, as a certificate holder, you're not the owner of record, therefore you can't even get insurance. Most states say that that's not allowed. You have to have some kind of ownership interest in the property in order to be able to get insurance on it. So these are the things you don't know going into this, and you learn as you go. So it can feel overwhelming and frustrating. Hey, it's trash day again. Ugh. Anyway, nothing better than seeing someone else's trash can garbage in the background. Excusey. Anyway, insurance can be frustrating because you've got to have it. It's an expense that is pretty hefty. You probably won't ever need to use it, but in the likelihood of an incident, it's a mandate to have, or else all your hard work, all your efforts could just be, for naught in a lawsuit, and then someone, either gets, if it's commercial property liability insurance, for your business, someone gets hurt, or if it's personal property insurance, if natural disaster or something happens to the property, or personal liability where someone comes after you personally. So here are these 3 specific insurance categories. They all have their place and they're all very important. And with tax deed properties, you are now the owner of record when the quitclaim deed has been recorded in your name. You don't have to have clear title in order to get insurance, but it's super important to hold insurance, have an active policy in effect, because a tree could come down, someone could start a fire in the living room, your tenant could burn the place down, lightning could strike, just name the reasons. But here's the kicker. This is what I'm finding. Purchased all these properties, need to get insurance on them, contact the insurance agent. So the houses actually need to be insurable. I'm like, what? What do you mean? It's a structure. Of course it's insurable. No, so our insurance company is picky. It wants to see that it's in good condition. None of your houses meet the criteria yet. And I'm like, okay, so tell me what the criteria is. Well, they all need to have pretty much new roofs. And you're gonna wanna do that anyway because you wanna protect your investment and you don't wanna start fixing things up inside in the interior, have an old roof, and then it ends up ruining the stuff that you just spent money to fix. I get that. Excuse me. You want to work top down. I get that. And so here's an expense I need to just account and bet on every single property needing a new roof. That's $6,500 to $7,500 depending on if additional decking work and rot and whatever underlayment stuff needs to be replaced. So I went back to the insurance agent, and out of my however many I have now, I have 2 that have new roofs on them. Yay! And I'm going to give you a side note of this. How do you, as an investor working out of state, verify that your local help, your local contractor, your local property manager is actually giving you pictures of your place and and asking you to pay for the, you know, the repairs or the replacement based upon those photos, how can you as an out-of-state investor really make sure that you aren't getting had? Like, are you getting taken advantage of? Are they giving you photos of another job that they're doing, someone else's house that looks just like yours? Because let's be honest, they all look like rectangular boxes. Super simple roof lines. How do I know that the roof that of the picture I'm getting with my invoice for $6,500 is actually my property? These are all good questions, and they're questions that I ask too. I don't want to be paying someone for a roof that I don't actually get. And, oh, by the way, I say, oh, I want the inspection. I want to, you know, did it pass a roof inspection? You know, here in Colorado, well, I'm not in Colorado, but back in my home state, Colorado, I believe we have a mid-roof and a file roof inspection. And that just makes sure that everyone's doing their job and has industry best practices to make sure that everything is installed correctly. It covers me, the consumer, honestly. And so my property manager is like, yeah, we don't have roof inspections. And I'm like, So I contact my coach. I'm like, is this true? No roof inspections? And he's like, yeah, I just kind of let her do her thing. But yeah, that sounds right. I'm like, okay, all right. So anyway, back to verifying. I asked my property manager, please take a picture of the front of the house always, with also the work being done in the background. 2 items need to be in one photo. Front elevation plus evidence of the current work being done. So she did oblige, but I felt like a total you know what by being picky. But I'm like, no, we need to establish this routine, this standard first. Like, trust is built after verifiable facts have been proven. That is my stance. So now we're gonna go back to the insurance. So now that I've paid for the roofs, now that I have pictures that they are replaced and in good condition and good repair, I have built this Google sheet where, for the insurance agent, that gives him all the information per house. So the information is on the columns, the house is on the rows, and there's a link to the roof before and after photos only. I don't have him be able to have access to the rehab photos or anything like that. But he can see the roof photos and he can do whatever he wants. That cuts down on time that he's calling me, emails, all that jazz. Give him all the information, share the worksheet with him. I feel like the more I can do something one time and have those efforts be scalable or evergreen, the better it is for me. And if I can update a worksheet and he has access to it, that keeps me from having to maybe do 2-3 emails times 10, 15, 20 houses, eventually 200 houses. That's a lot of time to cut down. Just wanted to pass on that morsel. So anyway, back to the insurance. Finally got 2 insured yesterday. Everything was finalized.